Hi, guys, and welcome to another session of Cami Connects 2022. Whoop, whoop! I am your girl, Lakia Smith, also known as your Cami Fairy Godmother, coming to you live, sort of, from my classroom, where I teach 4th grade ELA at the wonderful Pine Springs Preparatory Academy in Holly Springs, North Carolina. Now, along with being an 11-year vet, I am also a current Cami hero. I've had the awesome privilege of using Cami in grades K through 5 over the last 5 years. But enough about me. You're here to get engaged. And sorry, I'm not that kind of godmother. But if you're here for student engagement, then I'm your girl. So let's get started. What is engagement? Well, in education, student engagement refers to the degree of attention, interest, and curiosity a student shows when learning. What does that look like? Well, it could be anything from attentive listening to participation in discussion and teacher questions. Misconception number 1. Our students have mastered the art of the fake out, and we have all fallen victim to their fraud. They stare at us blankly most of the time as we orate beautifully crafted lessons. They even answer questions that, might I add, don't require any real thought, just an ability to parrot. Then comes the assessment. We grade the tests and cry in our cars in the school parking lots and wonder how we ever were duped to becoming teachers in the first place. I taught this. I don't understand. Just me or anybody else recognize those tears? Misconception number 2. Not all worksheets are created equal, and they certainly do not equal student engagement. Now, let's be real, you and I here. Normally, when we try to find a worksheet, we're just looking for something with the same title as what we've been droning on about, so we can feel good about our students' ability to fill in a blank, put in a grade in the gradebook, and wash our hands and move on. But then all those trees have died for nothing, just fruitless grades and busy work. Have I stepped on any toes? Trust me, mine hurt too. So what is student engagement? Well, let's go back to the definition. A student's degree of interest, attention, and curiosity. Interest, attention, and curiosity. Yeah, those are the things we need to tap into. So there are 3 types of engagement. The first is emotional. And that refers to a student's general feeling about school or their work. Then there's behavioral engagement. That is their attention and overall involvement in their learning. And then last but not least, there's cognitive engagement. That's the investment or ownership they take in their content. I had a teacher friend once tell me that if I am the only one going home tired at the end of the day, I'm doing something wrong. And she was right. Why am I the only one going home beat to death as if I ran an 8-hour sprint? Our student's brain should have the same feeling of exhaustion and exhilaration. So, one thing I like to keep in mind when creating lessons for my scholars is how can I put them into the content rather than throwing it at them and hoping something sticks like spaghetti on a wall. Well, in walks Cami. So the first example I want to share with you is a hyperdoc. Yes, Cami allows you to create a hyperdoc out of anything. This is an activity that my students used to figure out whether or not they could find vocabulary words from our unit. Here's a disclaimer. we were studying Middle Ages, so you'll see a lot of dragons and knights and lords and ladies and vocabulary of the such. Just bear with me. So along the side, I do have all of my links, which are clues to their vocabulary word. Each color is a different word. Each dot is a different clue. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of links. And you're right. But what Kami does is allow my student to choose their dot, and then it automatically highlights and brings to the top the link that they need to search. So for instance, if I wanted this clue, I can select it, and there, Kami pulls it to the top. Then my student can click on the link and go to their clue. Voila, easy peasy lemon squeezy. This clue is a noun. Then they can close it and move on. Another detail that I love that Kami allows me to do is hold students accountable for their work. So not only are they engaging in this wild map, but they have to work as a team. I can come down here to the collaborators tabs and erase all of my work, and then meet with them individually or as a team to discuss what they were able to do. So here I can see their notes, and I love that they've taken notes in the blank space. But maybe one of my friends was a little overbearing, and I can see exactly how much he has taken over the project and what his friends were able to do. It's important to note that engagement will look different from one student to the next. Here, my students decided to take notes in the blank space, as you can see. But if I look at another group, their notes are right on the map. And I know you might be looking at this and saying, oh my gosh, that's a mess. And you're right, but I don't care what it looks like. My students are engaged, and I can physically see that. They took their notes directly on the map, and they still have notes here at the bottom. Again, I can go to the collaborators tool at the bottom, eliminate any work that I did personally, and talk to my group about their involvement and engagement in their group work. Okay, so fairy godmother, that's cute and all, but that looks like a lot of work. Do you have anything else for us? What kind of fairy godmother would I be if I didn't? Of course I've got something else. Let's take a look at the next example. This is one of my favorites because it allows me to use the split and merge tool. I love the split and merge tool. What split and merge allows us to do is, instead of having students flip through their reader or flip through their workbook trying to answer questions based on what they read in their text, I can pull specific content that they only need for one day or one lesson, and they can focus on that. So if you're like me, you hate the workbooks that come with their unit. They have a workbook, they have a reader, and they have to flip back and forth through pages. And then when it comes time to turn it in, they don't know how to tear correctly, and they might have torn out 3 lessons instead of the 1, and now work is missing. And God forbid if their workbook gets wet. Pfft, gone, over, no more materials. But with the split and merge tool, I can pull chapter 2, the only chapter they need for this section. Also, with the stop and go activity, I can create a red rectangle, and students, when they see that, they know immediately I am going to stop and engage with the text. Whatever this question asks me to do, I need to do. And then when they see the green dot, they're going to go and do something in the text, hence stop and go. And you can do activities like that throughout the entire reader, like you see here. With easy tools, number 1, our shapes tool. Make sure you change your colors depending on what it is you want your students to engage with. And our comment tool, another one of my favorites. I can choose a text comment or a voice comment, video, and screen capture if I have to show an example of what I want my students to do. Select an area in which I want to put my comment, and voila, easy peasy, mac and cheesy. In addition to the stop and go text investigation activity, Kami also allows you to add pages to any document. I know, awesome, right? So for this particular activity, students were reading about the different lives between lords and serfs. And I wanted them to illustrate the difference. And I did that by adding a page. Here, with the add button, I simply select it and I can put however many pages I want, 1 to 100. I wouldn't suggest 100 though. I can add a blank page like I did for my activity, a lined page, which would be great for writing activities, a grid page, and my art teacher here at Pine Springs does an amazing activity with his students and the grid page in Kami, or a music page. Now, I don't know anything about music, so I'm going to stay in my lane. I will probably never use the music sheet, but you might know a little something about music. Go for it. Then you can also change the orientation, portrait or landscape. And just click add and you have your picture. And so now you know how to add a page to any document. I hear you. I hear the mumbling. Okay, fairy godmother, that's great. Do I have something simpler? Of course, I have something simpler. This particular activity is one that I've done with kindergartners before, and I love it. It's personal and dear to my heart because I remember when my children are younger, reading the I Spy books and having all of those riddles and then going into the text, really trying to find the images that match the riddles. That was so much fun for me. Well, with this particular activity, it's as simple as finding something in your Google Drive and uploading it. Voila, instant activity. You can even go a little further and doctor the document a little bit before you assign it to your students. So here, I have already colored each item students have to find in the master picture ahead of time. Because not only do I want to assess their ability to match the picture and find all the cute pictures that start with the letter A, but I want to see if they can match my colors as well. So I might say, hi, kindergarten friends, can we color the capital A purple? Yes, fairy godmother! Or can we color the lowercase a orange? Two things are being assessed in a really cool activity. Yeah, I knew you'd like that one. So, want to walk through one together? I was hoping you'd say yes. So I told you, it's as easy as finding something in your Google Drive, right? And if you're anything like me, you come across articles or worksheets every now and then that you just stick in a folder somewhere for later, hoping that you have the opportunity to do them. Me too. So in my Google Drive, I have this amazing article. So you would go to your Google Drive or your computer and pull up whatever activity it is that you were interested in having your students engage with. So for me, Kami uploads any of my PDFs instantly, but uploading a document is easy as going to your Kami and looking at the dashboard. The dashboard already has the ability to open from your Google Drive, your computer, even your OneDrive. Or say, for instance, in the heat of the moment, you have a great idea for something that you want to throw in the middle of your lesson. Kami also has resources already ready for you, maybe a KWL chart or a bubble map. You can choose from what's already made. But we are going to choose my article because that's what I promised you. So, clicking on my article, Kami loads it, and now I think, how do I want my students to engage with this? Let's practice summarizing, because we know if we just tell students to summarize, we're going to get a retelling of the entire article, right? That's not what we want. So what we do is called a one-sentence summary, where we force students to give us the most important information about a text with only one sentence. So in this particular article, I can leave instructions with each paragraph by going to, you guessed it, my text comments. I can select my text comment and a place where I want to put my comment and tell students, find the 5 most important words in this paragraph. No, not find. highlight. So I'm going to go back and change that to highlight because I don't want them to just find it. I want them to interact with the text. So highlight. There. Now they instantly know what they have to do. They're not just reading the paragraph. They have to go in and do a little work, right? Highlighting the 5 most important words in the paragraph. And they'll do that for each paragraph. And then at the bottom of the article, I can give them further instructions with the text box and say, using your 5 words, create a sentence that spell it correctly, rises the paragraph. Now, not only have I forced them to select the 5 most important words in the paragraph, now they have to take those words and tell me what that paragraph is about. At the end of the activity, they have created a paragraph about the text. No more retelling the entire text. They've pulled out the most important information and formulated sentences. Voila, engagement. So now you've seen just a few things you can use to help your lessons become a little more engaging and interactive. And trust me, we've barely scratched the surface. Kami is only limited by your imagination. That's a SpongeBob reference if you didn't get it. There's a community of teachers just like you and me who are always willing to share their tips and tricks that they've learned along the way. Not to mention the pretty amazing people at Kami HQ who are always ready to solve a problem. So, what are you waiting for? A ring or something? Get your account today. Now, Fairy Godmother is open for questions.